Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all these topics and subjects, looking for potential investment opportunities, sharing those opportunities with everybody in the community. We do have a Saturday question and answer session coming up tomorrow at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. If you'd like to join, you can interact with me over Zoom directly. And if you're interested, you can also sign up. And if you're not signed up, you can use that special coupon code to get a special 50% off the first month only on the monthly membership and a larger discount on the yearly membership. All right, let's dive in, take a look, see what's going on today. Dollar, dollar, dollar. Look what happened here. So jobs report numbers came out. I guess they were lower than expected, and there was some revisions, some very large revisions that were done over the past 2 months. So does this mean that we're going to get this turn here in interest rates and in the dollar? So let me just back up real quick. So these revisions and the lower number in jobs, a couple things that are really shady around it. All right. So Trump says that he has fired the statistician, whoever's putting these numbers together. They are from the previous regime. And I don't know if there's doctor numbers here. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the background. But it seems to me that he thinks that these numbers are doctored. The revisions are so large that it makes me believe that either the data is completely wrong, or they have been doctored, or something's going on. So I'm not exactly sure, but to have a job this as big as they have, I find it very hard to believe. That's all I'm going to say there. If we get unemployment, so there's two things that the Federal Reserve looks at. Those two things are inflation and unemployment. And it's a big deal because if unemployment goes way up and they doctor the numbers in either direction, whoever's doing it, I don't know, that has an impact on where interest rates are going to go. So if unemployment goes way up, if you adjust the numbers and they look a lot worse than what they really are, and unemployment's a lot higher, then you're going to see a sell-off in interest rates and a sell-off in the DXY. The market was setting up to move higher. So this is the falling wedge, the breakout, the retest, and then the move higher. But today, we have to see what happens. You can draw a line going across here and say, well, maybe this is just a retest and then that we're still going to go higher. Not exactly sure. It depends on what the real data is. If this data isn't right, then the market is trading off of erroneous data. So going forward here, it's difficult to know how it will play out. Not saying that, I know that it was going to play out before. This definitely looks like it wants to go higher from this setup all through here. But today, we'll see if those numbers stand or if we get another correction in the numbers. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do going forward here if those numbers are wrong. So we saw a massive move lower in the 2-year yield. And I did put a little thing here, little snippet. It says, this is insane. We must have received some massive downward jobs revision. May's job report was revised down by 125,000 from 144 to plus 19. June's jobs report was revised down by 133,000 from 147,000 to 14,000. That's a 258,000 jobs that just vanished from the data. 250,000 jobs vanished from the data. Now, the market reacted like that was legit data. And what it did is it sold it off, because what that is saying is that the economy isn't as strong as it should be. So we get this big move lower. And I can't tell you what the driving factor, if it is a legit mistake or the data is just not that accurate. I'm not sure. But that's the move. We had a minus 7% move today in the 2-year to the downside, with that data being released this morning. The 10-year yield is down 4%. So that's also getting hit. And then the 30-year is down 2%. Notice how this is falling. The longer end of the curve is more locked in. The shorter end of the curve is a lot more volatile and moves more freely. So we had a minus 7% on the 2-year, minus 4% on the 10-year, and minus 2% on the 30-year. Now, all of these charts from a longer term basis are bullish to go up. But in the short term, we're seeing incredible buying pressure in bonds. It's the yields drop when you get buying pressure. So we'll see if there's any follow through or if there's revised numbers that come out later. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen here. And then those yields spur everything behind it. This is what the whole market is being traded off of, is interest rates. So with interest rates dropping like they did and the dollar dropping, what you're going to see is you're going to see strong precious metals. You're going to see a weaker everywhere else for the most part. So think of a risk off trade versus a risk on trade. So TLT bond prices are up. That's where people went to when they first heard this data. The 2 and the 10 uninverted quite dramatically. Now, there's a couple of things here that make this really confusing. All of this yields were about to, like the 2-year was about to break higher. We were about to break out of this. And this data just so happened to come out right at the breakout. I mean, right at the breakout. The 2 and the 10 was also breaking out to the upside for the yield curve to invert. And all of a sudden, we got this massive uninversion today. One could also state this is a retest off the breakout. So we broke out, and this is your retest back. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see what happens here. If we get follow through lower, if this were to dive bomb lower here, which it could, that would mean that a recession slowdown is probably pretty likely. And I don't know who's releasing these numbers, but that would also lower interest rates and lower the dollar. That's exactly what Bessent and Trump want. You just listening to them and what they say. So maybe these numbers were released on purpose. I don't know. QYX TNX ratio moving up quite a bit today, 1.62. You know what that's going to do? It's going to light gold up. It's going to light it up to the upside. So we have the yield curve, and if this goes all the way back up and cycles back up here, gold is going to keep going. So gold's up today, 1.87% based off that information. Big day today. We are still in the game for a big breakout. We've got silver up 0.89%. I know we've had some selling pressure the past week or two. It really depends on what rates do. Everything in the market is based off interest rates, everything. If rates go up dramatically, that's generally an inflationary environment. And then algos go buy a bunch of crap. If rates go down dramatically, like we saw today in the 2-year and the 10-year, then people rush into safe haven assets like gold and silver. So these are up. Platinum's up too. That looks like a reversal, like it wants to reverse higher here. So this could be a potential short-term bottom. Looks very good to reverse and go higher. And palladium's up 1.3 right on support. No reversal there yet. We're on support. XAU to gold ratio, we were down a little bit today where gold, the physical metal, outperformed the mining companies. The mining companies were still up today, but they just weren't up as much as gold. And again, super cheap, super low level. GDX is up 1.5%. More or less chopping sideways. GDX more or less chopping sideways at support. And SILJ chopping sideways at support. No big move here. Kind of a sell everything panic mode to some degree in the markets today. Crude oil down 2.77. We were at resistance support. Now, I left this on here just to show you guys. So when we went to break out on oil, which is this day, that big candlestick right there, that big reversal day, on that day, we had the Trump tweet, everyone, keep oil prices down. I'm watching. You're playing right into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it. June 23rd of 2025, which is that exact day of that big reversal candlestick day here. That's June 23rd. We went to break out and they posted that and it came back down the next 2 days. Now, we were ready to try to break out here, and this information was released today. So I don't know if this is all coordinated. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not exactly sure. But with the jobs report and all the big revisions, it impacted gold in a positive way and crude oil in a negative way. And that's not how the markets were setting up the past, I'd say, week or two. The week or two, we had a breakout in the dollar, breakout in yields. Now, they don't want yields to go up. And there's other things that they said that if it gets above the 4.5% 10-year for like 2 weeks, they're going to smack it back down. So just to go back to the 10-year to show you guys kind of what's happening, the 4.5% level is that white line. You notice anything? We came up to the white line and how it's basically being held lower right here. That was the news that was released. He said if it gets to the 4.5 and holds up there, they're gonna push it down. They're doing QE, which means this dollar, if they're doing that, it's gonna drop like a rock, baby. Precious metals will explode to the upside, and that's the 45-year cup and handle pattern that's about to break on silver. So crude oil getting sold off from the unemployment weakness in the revisions in the numbers, the jobs numbers, and the lowering of interest rates in the dollar. And I think this is part of that today. We're seeing selling pressure. TTF gas was down today. Then natural gas in America was just down slightly. Not too bad, still below resistance. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, getting hit in the nutsack here, down 3.5%. Makes sense. Crude oil's down. This is down. This also might mean, because we don't have a bunch of reds, we have this guy there. Now we're starting to get a little bit more selling pressure. It also means that, in my opinion, that there's insiders that may know what's going on before it occurs. We've seen oil go up a little bit the past few days or whatever, but we didn't see huge follow through with oil equities. OIH down 3.6%. We still got buying pressure towards the end of the day. Wasn't a full closing at the lows. Your lows are here and it came off that bottom. So it was more of a strong selling pressure in the morning, and then people kind of purchase stuff throughout the day. So that's where we're at there. Newcastle coal futures down slightly. Not much movement going on there. Physical Uranium Trust getting a big reversal day today. We came back, hit support again, put in a big bullish engulfing. This looks good to go higher. When looking at the chart, we're sitting on top of support. We fell back kind of in this falling wedge deal there. Now we have a big bullish engulfing. We could see this move to the upside. Uranium futures pricing up 0.5%. Trying to put in a bottom and turn. We've got URA, the equities. Now the equities got sold off with everything else. That was down 2.9%. Uranium was down 0.8. These are not bad candlesticks, though. They're not horrible. And then URNJ down 1.14 towards the bottom end of this, quote, support area. Still above the trend line. That still looks okay. Nickel down 0.88. Is this a reversal pattern into, a retest pattern? It could be. It could be a retest before we go higher. But again, I want to see the data here. I want to see some more data. I want to see some more days behind us. But this was breaking out here. Looked good. We had a nice little retest today, and we'll see if that holds. Copper's up 2%. Now, copper just got shellacked, dude. It got shellacked. Absolutely shellacked with the tariff stuff. Now, copper is a vital indicator of if we're going to go into recession or if we're going to go into, let's say, a good economy. Can I tell from this data what it's going to do? I don't know. The tariffs messed this signal up pretty bad. But we were up today 2.11% on the back of a very large down day yesterday. The OPX down 0.65, but this still looks good to go higher. We're sitting on top of support. I think that still looks good. Lithium down a little bit. I think this will probably try to bottom here soon when I look at a lot of the individual charts. Look for like a turning point somewhere in that circle there. REMX, another one that looks like it's trying to turn. So this was your retest here. So we're doing a lot of retests where you break out of the pattern. So this is breaking out here. Then it pulls back and does a retest here. So that's kind of what we're going through at the moment. Iron ore is on fire, man. It broke out. It looks good to potentially break higher. Now, are all these charts congruent with what happened today? They aren't. In trigonometry, you do your what is it? The theorems or proofs. That's what it was. The proofs that you do. You'd say this is to this, is this is to this, so therefore, this is right. What I'm seeing is lithium, fertilizers, iron ore. A lot of these things are trying to break to the upside. That's not congruent with unemployment numbers that were just released. So we've got some huge discrepancies going on here. Aluminum is up today, surprisingly, but a little bit of a downtrend occurring here in the short term. Baltic Dry Index is up 0.4%. That's been in an up move. Yeah, we have got some selling pressure recently, but that's still on top of the pattern. Emerging markets down 0.74%. It's been falling down. Most everything got sold off today. So even though we had a weaker dollar, weaker yields, doesn't mean that everything goes up when there's a little bit of fear in the market. I'll show you where that fear looks like in the VIX. Down a little bit, but right on support for the most part, and I still think this will go up. KRE is down 2%, back to support, doing a retest perhaps, where we're at, right? That support region. XHB flying higher, 1.91%. Why is that? Lower interest rates. So the market believes that affordability is a big problem, and with lower interest rates, we'll see home builders do well. That could be the case. Could be the case. Russell's down 2%. Now this was a rising wedge. I said, hey, look, we could see a downward move. Here's the downward move. Is this a more sustained downward move? I'm not sure about that. It's a downward move, but we've got a nice little wick at the bottom. It was bought up. This isn't just flying lower and ending at its closing prices. SPX, similar move. We have a little wick at the bottom. We have to see if there's more follow through. But I put yesterday, hey, look, we have a bearish engulfing here and here. This looks like we could see a sell-off, and the VIX was creeping up. We could have got a breakout in the VIX, which it did. NASDAQ down 2.2%. What I have here is a rising wedge, a breakout, and this is potentially a retest. Could we see a much larger sell-off? We could. Now, am I calling that we are? I don't know with certainty, but we need to watch and see what follow through we get. What kind of candlesticks do we get? Dow Jones down 2%, and that's back to support. Support levels down here. It's this whole area down there. Support. XLI, which was flying a few weeks ago, now down a little bit, down 1.5%, but still above support. SMCI down 4%. That was a reversal candlestick yesterday. That's why I got the downward candlestick. Now we have to see if there's any follow through. Nvidia down 2.33, been cruising higher. Bitcoin's down 2.6. We're kind of chopping out of this channel. So this looked bullish the entire time, and now we are getting this big, selling pressure candlestick. Let's see if there's any follow through. I'm going to leave the upward arrow. Let's just see if there's follow through. We are sitting on top of a bunch of different support. There's a reason that we broke out of this pattern. So it could be a retest, maybe. Maybe we have a normal kind of sell everything day and sell off, but Ethereum's also down 5%. We'll see if there's any follow through there. MicroStrategy. Now this was a falling wedge ready to break higher. And big selling pressure day to day, down 8.8%. Could this be kind of like a double top? It could be. It could be. Not ruling that out. But we'll see. We'll see if there's follow through. If there is, it could get ugly. The VIX is up 22%. Now it's back right above or right below resistance. This shoots higher. That's your fear coming into the market. Volatility spiking. And with the dollar crashing, I am noticing that a lot of these currencies, they might break out here. If we get lower rates, it's going to break all these currencies out of their patterns here. Did this one on log. Brazilian real double bottom. I mean, it's gonna push all these up, which is good. It's good for a commodity bull market that we are entering longer term here. So that's what we're seeing in the markets here, guys. Lots of volatility today. The unemployment numbers, the jobs numbers, vision of those jobs numbers having a very large impact on today's trading. Usually, if the data is bad, you'll see insiders start to trade in a way where they position money for that outcome. I don't see that in the charts there. So kind of interesting, whatever came out today, in terms of those numbers, how real or unreal they are, I don't really know. And it puts a lot of question marks around the data being released. So we'll continue to monitor it. We'll see what kind of follow through there is, if there's any follow through in the S&P, NASDAQ to the downside, and with yields too. Yields are very important. They price everything, guys. Price everything. So if we get a big move lower in yields, it kicks on all the algos and stuff, and things start moving all over the place, especially if one is positioned for the opposite direction, and then you get a big move lower, then it kicks everything in the opposite direction. You get a lot of volatility. So we'll see what happens. We'll continue to monitor it here every day. And yeah, that's all I've got for today. Don't forget, we've got a question and answer session tomorrow, Saturday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. All right, guys.